Hello and welcome to Let's Play City Skylines with Lucky Red. So, the last time we left our city, we added a new chunk onto the population, which allowed us to level up, get some new buildings, which is good, and just kind of grow our city in general. So, one of the things I did in between now and the last replay was I was messing around with add-ons again, and also just some other game settings, and I turned hard mode on, and the problem with turning hard mode on was I thought it just affected traffic, but it affects a lot of other things. So I turned hard mode back off, but a lot of my buildings still think that they need certain things in order to be happy, whereas on easy mode, they're more likely to just be fine with what they have. As long as they're doing relatively good, they're fine. Hard mode, they want higher land value in order to stay, and businesses like the commercial zones will have a harder time getting goods and selling out of goods, and industries need more resources. Now, I'm not sure if that's all right, or, I'm sure there's other things that hard mode does, but that's the things that I noticed. So a lot of what I was doing right there was just deleting buildings to let them regrow. I also put in some toll booths because I was getting lower on cash as far as making money. Yeah, I got 2.5 million, but I wanted to at least stay in the positive, just because I don't want to run out, even though that's probably not going to happen anytime soon. Also, I was hoping that would keep some traffic that doesn't belong in this city out of the city, honestly. I wish I could have made the toll booths free for residents, and just charge people who are just trying to use the highway and come through, but they wouldn't let me do that, so everyone has to pay. So I'm adding a chunk onto the city again, just because I want to get a framework, but not kind of just a nice boxed city. I want the streets to be, again, kind of interesting and not look too gritty, but cities are generally kind of square shapes, not perfectly, obviously, but they tend to be relatively square shaped because that just makes the most sense for getting around and doing the things that you need to do in a city. So I'm gonna make it kind of look like how it would in a city, which is, it's not going to be perfectly straight. It's just going to make a general box shape. I'm also adding in another cemetery because one of them got full, and until we get to 17,000 population, I cannot actually make the crematory to get rid of the bodies. So they just indefinitely pile up until we get to that point. So I'm emptying one of them into the others, just so it has room to put some more in it. And so that's all I'm doing with that for right now. Also getting rid of the parking on that street. It was one that I missed, and as you guys know by now, I do not enjoy people parking on the streets. Get out. Also, to help with frame rate issues that I was having last time, where the game was kind of getting stuck in places, I'm just leaving it on play, but the first speed of play. So hopefully those issues aren't there. So again, I'm kind of looking around, and again, I think this is just a side effect on having hard mode on for a while, which is some of the businesses that weren't having issues before are having issues where they're not getting goods. They were getting them just fine before. I looked into what could cause this. One issue is traffic. Right now, there are no traffic issues, so I don't think that's the problem. Two was checking policies to make sure that you're allowing businesses to get deliveries. They can get deliveries. And I forget what the last one was. It was just, make sure you have some industry, which we do have. We have plenty of industry. However, if it continues to be a problem, I'll have to come back to it. Right now, I want to make an industrial area. Now, I was checking out these industrial roads. The only thing with them that's the advantage is that they're cheaper roads, but they make more noise, and we have plenty of money. So the whole saving money to make the road thing doesn't really appeal to me at all. And I also want a road where either bikers or pedestrians have some ability to have like their own lanes or at least paths. So I'm just kind of searching for those at this point. Eventually, obviously, looking at the bike tab would be the smartest thing because it's the roads with the bike lanes. So I'm going to put one in here, which because of the slope of the road, or because of the slope of the land, it has to make an underground path, which isn't the greatest, but, it adds something interesting to the city. Generally you wouldn't want that when you're making it, but sometimes, if it were real life, you got to plan to make roads the way that they just have to be made. And it makes the city a little bit more interesting. It's not totally optimal, but whatever. So right here, I'm just trying to make another road that goes up to our top road here, and it's saying everything is cool. You can't see it, but I'm actually clicking all over the place to try and build the road, and it just won't build. So I'm messing with the height of the road, hoping that had something to do with it, but again, I'm clicking all over the place and nothing's happening. I try and go from this angle, and it says, okay, you can build the road underground. And again, I'm not really sure why that's happening. With the other one, it just built the road automatically underground. This one, it seems like no matter what I try and do, it just won't make the road. It doesn't turn red. I don't have anarchy on, so I'm not sure why. And I can build the road all the way up to this point, but it won't actually connect to the road. It's very strange. So I kind of just don't know what the dealio is. It's saying the slope is too steep, but I can connect it over to the side. So at this point, that's what I do because I'm tired of messing with it. Delete this random building. And then I'm going to plop down some more industrial because we got a lot of demand for that. So I go ahead and put a lot of that down. I'm just checking for water, electric. It's in the green, but it's obviously nice as you're adding to keep adding electricity as you go, because although it's in the green now, when those buildings pop up, they're going to take more electricity. And again, with the budget that we have, it's just better to be on the side of having too much supply, especially because we're using green power, than not enough. So I just go ahead and make them, put them down, just give us a little boost. So they're beginning to grow. We're on just the first speed of play, so it's going to obviously take longer than it would. I open up Traffic Manager, but it's because I'm looking for a specific thing, and that's here in the Network Management tool, because I want to sort of neaten up the slopes on the road a little bit, because right now they're a little wibbly wobbly. They're kind of all over the place. Sometimes they're going down, sometimes they're going up. So if you just click all the little nodes here that you want along the road, it gives you all these numbers. And then if you press enter, it evens them out. So then the gradient of the slope is actually even through the road. So it's not these weird ups and downs and bumps like if you were driving in a small town that's kind of on a slope. You'll notice that sometimes the road's really steep and then it'll level out and go back to steep again, and it's kind of hard on the cars, and we just want people to be able to drive on, you know, a nicely sloped road. So that's what I'm doing with that tool. And I think one of the things I try and do is also kind of even out this slope over here. I have the same problem where it won't do it. It just won't. You know, no matter what I do, I can press enter a million times and it just says no. This is the best it's gonna get. This is the fact that it connects at all you should be happy about. So once again, I just kind of give up on it, and I come over here to this one, get that evened out a little bit nicer. It is a little wonky right there, so I didn't just go to the next node. I clicked the one before it as well. And I just kind of evened it out nice. Went ahead and deleted all these because once they build on the height that they build at, they stay at that level. And I wanted the buildings to be a little bit more leveled properly. So the next thing I do is go into our terrain management tool. And what I want to do is just get nicer slopes, just get a more even slope, make it look a little bit nicer. So using the slope terrain tool, it says what you do is you right click on the height that you're sloping it up to set that height. And then you go ahead and start at the lower point and just sort of drag it up like I'm doing here. So you click, hold, drag it, click, hold, drag, click, hold, drag. And as you can see, it just kind of evens things out a little bit. It gets rid of some of those harsher upgrade, or, you know, like gradient. But I'm not doing the greatest job. You know, I had a nice area going at the bottom that was sloping pretty nice, and then I kind of screwed it up. So it's me just not understanding how to use the tool that well. I do Control Z right there to undo it with the Undo It mod, because it's kind of nice to be able to play with something but not get super stuck with whatever you accidentally do. So undo it is pretty critical. I then go to the smoothing tool and just kind of smooth it out, baby. Just try and get it nice and smooth. I think instead of the slope tool, I should have just gone with the smoothing tool in the first place, because that did sort of get both the area up in the upper right corner smoothed nicely, as well as the lower corner. So that was kind of good. The strength almost doesn't matter. The strength is more just like, with this tool, it's like you either want it smoothed and nice or you don't. So the strength just smooths it faster. And since I don't want to spend all day on it, I might as well set it to the maximum strength. So I just kind of smooth out this area a little bit, make it look a little nicer. So that's all we're doing here. Alright, so I do notice that our commercial got a little bit lower, so I want to make some extra commercial zones. And I just kind of decided if I'm going to make roads and kind of make them wibbly wobbly like this, that to help with traffic and our citizens who just might want to exercise a little bit more, to try and include bike lanes on roads, just to encourage people to use bikes if they want to, or people that might not have wanted to use bikes before. We'll see it and be like, huh, if there's all these dedicated bike lanes, I might as well use a bicycle. So adding in some commercial and just going to surround it with some residential, just a little zone in here to make it look nice. Later on, or is it right now? Okay, it's right now. Right now I decide, okay, if we're going to do that, I might as well connect this all down here to this area of our city. So it creates a nice bike path sort of connecting the southwestern area here to our northern area, and just gives people a nice little bike lane to use if they want, or to drive, whichever they feel like they want to do. So I kind of wanted to look to see if I could buy a new piece of land here, but I couldn't, because I still need more population in order to unlock the next piece of land. So instead I went back to the area here that we created, and I wanted to check to make sure that our parks were nice and set up, just to make sure that the land value was at least decent enough. So I'm just kind of looking through the areas, because what I want to do is have a new football stadium put in. That's like something I really wanted. So I found it using the Find It mod, because I wasn't able to find it the other way. So I'm just kind of looking at some options of where I can put it, because I want it to be somewhat centralized. I was thinking about putting it here, but it's just too close to the tunnel, and I felt like that just caused too many issues with traffic, and not being able to solve it easily. So I just kind of placed it right in the middle here. When I was looking at it, I was like, I don't care so much about making money. So tickets are still, they cost something, but it's not a lot. $25 for a ticket's pretty good. I rename it US Bank Stadium after the Vikings Stadium, and change the color of our jersey to purple, because that is the thing to do. So the team name I was looking at, and I couldn't change the team name. It just seemed like there was nothing I could do to change it. And there also wasn't any info panels on what these three things mean. I'm assuming one is transportation, one is security, and one is maintenance, just based off the pictures, but I'm not 100% sure if those are true. And even though there's a transportation option to turn on, you can't create lines. So I'm thinking that has to do with when the game is getting close to being on, like, maybe that day for a few hours or whatever, they'll go around picking people up. But otherwise they, if the stadium, there's nothing going on, then, why would you have bus routes? So I guess that makes sense. The next match I also wasn't able to change. I think it's just automated to only have so many games per month. So there's just nothing I could do about that. So I just kind of took a closer look. I see that people are visiting. Like people are coming here to do things that, maybe it'll rent out to businesses or whatever. I don't quite know how any of that works. Like, I don't know why people would be here if there's no game. And if there's no other way to make income off this, then I'm not really sure why they would be here. But anyway, it looks nice. But dun dun dun, it's a football. Football isn't soccer. No. So you can't actually have a football stadium. It's soccer because this game is English or whatever, pretty much any other country besides the United States. So I delete it all because I don't want a freaking soccer stadium. And there's no other options. You can't get actual football. When they say football, what they really mean is soccer. It's a real bummer. I was pretty disappointed about that. I'll probably at some point look into seeing if there's some assets I can download to make it a true football stadium. But at this time, the default does not allow for that. So at this point, I start to look into the farming industries because I figure if I can't make a football stadium here, then I might as well expand my industries since there's so much demand for it anyway. One of the things that I haven't done is paint just an industry area, which they definitely want you to do. Right now, my whole one zone is just all the same painted area. So I'm actually having to put in a specific paint just for industry. So otherwise they won't allow it. So one of the first things I do is place down some farming stuff. But the only thing is, I end up deleting all of this. So I'm going to fast forward it because I end up not wanting farming. Basically, since we already have a ton of agricultural area, and I just don't want it. I just don't enjoy it. And so the other huge reason, probably more important reason than anything, is there's no fertile land where I'm building it. So they can't produce anyway. So I end up changing it to forestry. So the first thing to do when you're making your forestry area is to put in a bunch of trees. So the forest brush revisited actually is great because you can select the kind of different trees you want and it'll automatically place a bunch for you and make it interesting looking as well. So that's a good thing. So now that we have our forestry area, we need to start forestry main building. So just plop that kind of in the middle. Just going to go ahead and unlock other buildings for us. So the first thing we need to do is put in some tree plantations. Let's put in a couple of those. We have a sawmill. I made the mistake here. I meant to actually click the sawmill, but didn't. Put in a log yard for when we have extra trees. And then I'm actually just going to go back and put in some more tree areas. So I'm just going to put in 2 more. There we go. And then now that we have those in, the thing that I'm looking at here is the storage mode. So you can choose a few different ones. You can choose to have it totally filled, which just means if nobody in town wants any of the lumber, it'll just stay in the storage area. I choose balanced because with balanced we get, obviously meet the local needs first, keep some stored, But at a certain point, like once we get too full, then yeah, go ahead and sell off the extra to other people. And then you also notice I went through and changed the look of the trees. I pretty much just like these two tree styles. So those are the ones I chose to go with. At this point, I did notice that I don't have a sawmill because I didn't click on it right. So I actually go back, find the sawmill, and place it right here where I meant to place it the first time. So I just put that down. Again, that takes our trees and we can make some timber out of it. And then from there, it's going to go right next door to either be stored or sent off to local businesses. Now, as it gets leveled up, right now it's just the first level, but as it levels up with people using it, we'll be able to put in more options as far as, you know, maybe some new tree places, new products that we can turn it into. But right now at level 1, this is where we're at. It looks like a decent amount of people are starting to work there. We're not making any profit, but it just started. So I just really want to make sure that the industry itself has the things that it needs in order to prosper more long term. Hopefully by doing this, some of the commercial areas here will get new sources of products that they can use, and it looks nice. It looks like a nice little area to add to our city outside of just what we've been doing so far. But anyway, thank you for watching another video. See you next time.